Oh man.
I didn't realize when we had to start over that I had to listen to this again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Shared Screens. I didn't say Waypoint this time. Media
How do
Club.
you?
Thanks. Where we discuss movies, video games, TV shows, but fuck books, they kill trees.
I
Join
have a
me.
really quick question. Alec, did you recognize what Jordan was singing?
Was it I thought it was just something with the Hawkeye intro or something like that.
Thank you. None of us knew it was the Daredevil intro. He was like, "I'm gonna open with the Daredevil intro." Brett was like never seen it, and I was like, gun to my head, I could not tell you what the Daredevil.
Nope.
That's why I pointed to my shirt.
Yeah. Sorry.
Now
Continue.
just say
I
that.
just
That sounds
needed to know if
familiar.
Alec.
Which I love Daredevil, the character in the comic. I just couldn't get into the show.
I like the show. It just like was not like a theme song that like I don't think gun to my head I would know the Jessica Jones theme song either.
I remember
See,
the
all of
visuals. I remember the
Iron Fist
visuals.
one, but the other three theme songs, they fuck. Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, those theme songs go hard.
Gun to my head, couldn't tell you.
Anywho, joining me today is Alec Bobko.
Hello.
Next to him is Brett Jamerson, aka Jim Tasty.
Hey.
And my pet lizard, LeighErin Jass.
Hi.
Today we are talking about Hawkeye, Episode 5, Ronin. So, guys, where do we want to start? LeighErin, I know you have feelings.
I do. I mean, we all knew this was... Me on Hawkeye and Moon Knight, I'm going to be fucking insufferable. For very different reasons, but I'm going to be insufferable.
When Moon Knight comes out, it's going to be your turn to be horny on main.
Ooh, it's going to be bad. Except one of the voices he uses in the trailer I can't take seriously, but that's besides the point. I need to start with that Eleanor is a stone cold bitch, and I love it. I mean, what she's doing is fucking terrible, but I kind of respect the game. Like, your fiance is just like getting arrested, and you're like, you did it! Like, you're the reason.
So positive during it, though.
He must be weird. He must be down bad because he's like, hey, thanks for doing this, like, right decision.
Stone cold.
See,
and
that's the other reason why I feel like it's a setup, or he's in on it in some way, because he's just like, honey, I would have done the same exact thing, and he's smiling at her like,
okay, so
yeah.
You know, like I said, he's a rich white guy. Like, nothing's happening to him. So
I get
like
that, but I still don't think that when you get arrested, you're smiling. Like, how good does the pussy gotta be?
I'm not saying that I don't think he's in on it. I'm just saying Eleanor is stone cold. Because she also just blatantly lied to her daughter.
And well, that could just be how dumb Jack is.
That too. But she also just bold-faced made eye contact with her daughter and just full-on lied to her about everything going on, and looked Clint in the eye, crying about how she understood his calling and like all of this stuff, but like her daughter means so much to her, and she hired a fucking assassin to kill Clint. Like, goddamn, my man.
Yeah, let's circle back to that. So that implies that Kingpin and Fontaine are connected or know each other.
Yelena's handler.
Like her.
Okay, so fun facts. When you hire a mercenary, in theory, in fiction,
I was gonna say, like, their agent?
Yeah. So you never contact, like, even if you watch Deadpool, like, I don't know if this is true in real life, because I don't even really know if mercenaries exist in, like, real life in this context.
They do. Oh, in this context,
in
I don't
this
know.
Context, like,
you have private mercenaries that they hire for wars.
And they work with, like, it's not just like you're like, hello, I heard you kill people for money. Will you come kill this man for
Elena
money?
needs a secretary, yeah.
You like go through somebody who's like, hey, I know a guy. Like how in Deadpool, the whole thing is you go to the bar and you talk to somebody at the bar and then someone picks up the job. With this, I'm assuming that it's, you know, that's why Yelena didn't know right away that Eleanor was the one who hired her. All she knew was what Fontaine told her. I'm not saying that Kingpin and Fontaine can't be working together, but I'm not automatically jumping to that just because Eleanor Bishop is the one who hired her.
I didn't know enough about the mercenary business.
You gotta learn dumb shit when you're writing major. There's a website called it's like info about dark stuff, and it's like you can look up stuff about mercenaries and like what the street price for like a kilo of cocaine is.
So that
And,
way
like
your
all this
writing's
stuff.
accurate?
Yeah, so that your writing's accurate, but you're not going on like the dark web to
I'm
like try
searching
and figure this
price
shit.
of
Price
kilo.
of cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
You know what I learned
Um,
today via Twitter? Apparently,
okay.
acid is like $10 at the most.
Yeah.
I
But
did
it's
not
like
know
for
that.
just like one little like
Tab.
Yeah, but
tab.
that shit lasts a weekend.
Like depending on the acid, not all acid is created equal. Some it'll get you high for 2 hours, some you're fucked for like a week.
Yeah,
But
no, that's
it
scary.
also
I don't
depends on you specifically because it has something to do with how it like metabolizes in your brain and like brain chemicals and all this shit. I don't fucking know. But
don't do
again,
drugs, kids.
watch Nick Offerman's documentary on psychedelics. It's fantastic.
Except the weed. Weed's cool. You could do weed, kids.
Stop, Jordan. Stop. um yeah, but fuck. There's a part of me that's like, teach me how to be cold and unfeeling like this. Like, fuck, dude. You didn't even bat a fucking eye. You're just like,
No.
yep. Your daughter hugged you
Well,
and
I'm
is giving you
assuming
this heartfelt apology and like feels for you and thinks that you're being betrayed, and you're just like, yup.
a
Like,
part of me
fuck.
thinks that Jack might if Jack's not in on it, part of me thinks Jack's been a fall man for her since the beginning.
It's not even just Jack getting arrested though. Like it's all like the shit with Kate is what like
Yeah.
is really crazy to me. Because like all parents lie to their kids about things, but like this is a whole other like realm.
Santa Claus, that the dog went up to a farm over the summer, that your father's really your dad, all that type of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm just kind of like Eleanor's kind of like fuck yeah.
How about that
I also
blip at the
assume-
beginning?
Oh yeah. I feel like that's the other thing now. It's like every time we see a character we haven't seen in a while, it's like, were they blipped or not? And it's like they always have to find a way to tell us. But it kind of clicked with me today that it made sense that Yelena was blipped because had the events of Black Widow happened, and then the events of Infinity War happened, in that 5 years, you think Natasha wouldn't have maybe brought her into help in some way or introduced them? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find ways, like new ways every time to show the blip or the snap, I guess, in cool ways. Because the whole like the dissolving and then instant reforming with the paint changing like slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't even realize
That's a
something
cool
was
artistic
happening.
touch. Yeah.
Quick thing.
Mhm.
The chick that lived in that penthouse.
Yeah.
Way too chill about Yelena walking out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
Way too calm about it. And then immediately being like, hey, all the Black Widows that you free, which this kind of pissed me off, but like whatever. All the Black Widows that you free, they're mercenaries now. Do you want to be one? I can help set you up and you can stay. Dude, she just lost 5 years
I was
of her
just
life.
gonna say.
Why are you so calm?
Listen,
Let her like
it's
chill
about that
for a
grind,
bit.
okay?
Yeah.
Everything is a networking opportunity.
Not the time.
She
Also, like, how
literally
are you
just
going to-
she's been processing losing 5 years of her life just in an instant. Like,
Well,
not worried about getting money or getting paid.
No. Does the woman? I mean, I'm assuming that they assumed this, but they don't actually know if she got blipped. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go," and then she disappeared, which is something that a Black
Jordan,
Widow could
they
do.
know she got blipped. Like, if you turn on the news, you've all lived, and you turn on the news one day and you learn about all the blip happening and like whatever.
You see a bunch of dust in your bathroom.
You see a bunch of dust in your bathroom. Like somebody went into my bathroom and never came out on a day that a bunch of people just disappeared from the face of the earth. Logical thinking tells you what the fuck happened.
Mm.
Well, plus you didn't hear any exit thing. Like, she literally said that, like, yeah, the other widow left a different
Sonya.
way than you did. Yeah, Sonya left a different way than you did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So she clearly knew that Yelena got
I'm just
dusted.
saying, that girl needed to like take a beat. I don't know what you've seen, but like therapy might be good for you.
So I have a
Also,
quick
you chose
question.
to settle down during the blip. Good for you.
What the other widow's name? I can't remember. Like that.
Sonya, I think we just said.
The short black hair was Sonia. The blonde chick had a name that started with an A.
Anna
or Anna.
Anya,
maybe?
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So what was going on with her?
We'll just call her
because she like wasn't infected from like Dracov's mind control stuff, and she was just chilling, I'm assuming.
So
and
they
maybe
thought
doing mercenary work.
That's the thing. They knew she was doing mercenary work, so they assumed she was still a Black Widow.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "No, like I'm doing this by choice.
I'm just doing it because it's all I know how to do." Which is like where I kind of have an issue with it, because you made all of Black Widow about these women regaining their autonomy over their own bodies, and then you're just going to be like, oh, but a bunch of them have just decided because they've never known anything else they're going to become mercenaries. I'm like, is that really the choice we want to make here? Is that really where we want to go?
Like if it was just her, that'd be different.
If it was just like,
I mean, you got to think though,
it's going to be a few of them.
I mean, people are creatures of habit, right? If that's the only thing they know, then their worldview and like their thinking is just so narrow.
I mean, you could argue that Natasha kind of did her version of the same thing,
and especially too like real world things. It's like you have no resume, you have like no like legal.
That's true. If you don't legally exist, the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a whole. We can get into the logistics of that conversation.
Okay,
that is a very real thing in this country. But
how did Anya get free? How did Anya get free? Like before?
That's the other thing. I'm like, why I don't like it is like it's just such a weird choice to make for me. Like I don't get that choice. Because like if the entire point of Black Widow hadn't been like these women regaining autonomy over their own bodies and minds, I'd be like, oh, whatever. They'd be like, fine. Excuse you. I'd be like, hey, whatever, that's fine. But because that was the whole point of the movie, I'm like, so we're just gonna yada yada this a little bit. That's what we're gonna do here? Really? You have Florence Pugh and we're just gonna fucking yada yada this? All right, nope. I would die for Yelena. I mean, I think that's known in this group, but I would die for Yelena. The scene between Yelena and Kate in Kate's apartment is, I told Jordan, it's like the angel and devil on my shoulders. Like that is what it is. The conversation they had at the table is those are the two sides of me. And I was like, awesome. I feel seen.
Dude, I love using hot sauce in mac and cheese. So I felt validated from that.
I don't like sriracha in mac and cheese.
That's the thing. Like it was sriracha, which is I feel like different.
Oh, it's so good, dude. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm not a huge sriracha fan, but other hot sauce and mac and cheese are really, really good.
Yeah.
Hot chicken and mac and cheese, like Nashville hot chicken and mac and cheese, is chef's kiss.
This episode really got me in the mood for mac and cheese.
I know, me too. I have a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese in my kitchen, and I like debated making it until I realized I didn't have any milk. So, but I just love that entire scene. I thought it was written super well. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and it's not like I have an issue with this, but the initial like aspect. So I'm still confused how much other people know about what happened on Vormir, because it was Clint and Natasha that went there. Clint came out. Clint isn't the type of guy that's like gonna blabber about events, especially something as traumatic as that, to a lot of people except a select few, maybe Avengers. And so how did this story propagate that like he killed her, and that it's actually like people actually believe that beyond like just it being a rumor, to the point that Yelena believes it, like even after Kate's like, hey, like he's not that kind of guy, like he wouldn't do that.
I personally, if my sister was like Natasha, and I knew that she was like this highly trained assassin and all that kind of stuff, and a dude with a bow and arrow, her and that guy went to a planet and only one of them came back, and then somebody came to me and was like, I have all this information saying that he's the one who killed her, I'd be like, yeah.
But that's assuming people know that they went to Vormir together.
Sorry, I'm explaining to Victoria why the end of this episode of Hawkeye matters.
Because like Fontaine clearly knows at least like somewhat of what went down, which I'm just like,
She
did,
knows
like,
that they're connected and that they were probably last seen together.
like, so did Hawkeye like tell like Rhodey, and then Rhodey went to a bar and told somebody else, and then somebody like, and then somehow
So
Fontaine heard through the grapevine. Like,
I told Clint, who told Rhodey, who told James, who told Mark.
So
Yeah.
in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they talk about how the world was told that Natasha died
right.
Yep.
during like Endgame. I'm assuming that the reason Yelena believes that Hawkeye killed her was that they went together and only Clint came back, and Clint's time as Ronin. Because if anybody's gonna have that fucking information, it's gonna be
Yeah, because Fontaine knows
Fontaine, all of them.
Hawkeye knows Hawkeye was Ronin too. Like, I guess
Exactly. And
that
so
out of
I
the
think
bag.
if you combine all of that stuff, you can go like, oh, he's like a bad dude. Especially if you don't know the part of he lost his entire family in the blip. And I mean, for some people, that's not enough. Like,
Yeah.
you know, for some people, it's still, you know, you get into that weird Dexter conversation of like, is it okay to kill killers?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know, Victoria.
Also, we got an indirect John Walker reference in today's episode, so super stoked for
Really?
that.
Where?
They made a reference to the Statue of Liberty getting the cat
Oh,
shield.
the new and improved Statue of Liberty, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, which, you know,
Which at this point will not be under construction because this is 2 years after Endgame.
this is taking place
When's No
around
Way
this.
Home?
This is taking place literally around
No
the
Way
same
Home's supposed to
time.
take place right after Far From Home, which is roughly 8 months after Endgame.
I'm gonna need Netflix to start releasing things in chronological order at this point because I can't keep it
I mean
straight.
Disney Plus.
Marvel just in general.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the
I would
movie.
just say Netflix.
Oh, sorry. Victoria wants to know if she has to watch the Netflix series now, and like
To quote Friends, we're looking into it.
we're looking into it.
Well, I was gonna say, Jordan, and this is not a spoiler in any way, but I believe in No Way Home there's some sort of like time difference. Like, it's not like everyone knows he's Spider-Man. He instantly goes to Doctor Strange and they do the
Like,
spell.
oh, that's true.
I know a spoiler on how
Shush.
the time's getting handled.
Shush,
I'm not
shush.
gonna say anything. This one I didn't mean to find. I found it by accident.
Just
But-
hi everyone. Oh, I don't know when this is getting uploaded. We're recording this 2 days before No Way Home officially comes out. I'm seeing it tomorrow in like a early showing.
Same.
I might go see it tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, say you have food poisoning. Say you had some bad tacos.
Oh no, it's papers.
Brett, you
that I
know
have to do,
LeighErin
and if they're
doesn't
not
go to
in
like
by
school
tomorrow-
in person.
No, it's all online. But like, if I don't have all my assignments in by tomorrow or Friday night, I fail the course. So,
Oof.
we're gonna see how much I get done after we finish recording because it's only
Mhm.
like 7:00 for me. But, sorry. The issue I had with this episode, Clint taking his earphone out, turning it off, and talking to a plaque on Grand Central Station is the cringiest shit I have ever seen in my
What?
goddamn life.
He was like
What?
praying to
So-
Natasha.
What?
He was like praying to her.
You thought that was
Yeah.
cringy?
I thought it was so cringy. I also wrote
If
the
he had
most
done it to like
realistic-
a photo of her or at her grave, I'd be
or
like,
just
that's
privately, just
Well,
privately.
Yeah, I
cool. If he
liked
was on the
it.
foot of his bed praying.
I liked it only because it was a place where they first like assembled in that.
Yeah,
city.
but not for them.
Yeah, they were all there.
All six
They were
of
all
them.
there.
Clint and
The
Natasha.
big comparison I thought of was in the Netflix show You, one of the characters' brothers dies, and when she feels like she needs to talk to him, she texts his phone because that number's like not in use anymore. And so like she gets all of it out, and I was like, that's a good one. Like, I don't know, you taking your headphone out and like talking to a plaque outside Grand Central Station. However, the most realistic thing about this show is that nobody
No
asked
one
him
batted
to
an
do
eye. Nope.
Nobody said anything to the man talking to the wall because in New York City, you just don't do that.
He wasn't talking to the wall for that long. It was like 15 seconds.
Still in New York, like you see a man talking
He's
to a
right
wall,
next
you're
to
like,
Grand Central Station, so the traffic that gets is like a good number
in
of people
15
saw.
Yeah.
seconds, I would say probably 1,500 people walked by him. I would be my guesstimate coming in and out of Grand Central Station and then just that area around the bridge in Bowdoin Park. I would
Yeah.
guess that about over 1,000 people walk by him. You don't talk to people talking to walls. All over New York City, there are people talking to walls. You leave them alone.
I was in Grand Central a couple weeks ago, and somebody was shouting, and it was one of the rare moments in New York City where people actually turned around to see what was going on.
There's a certain
Which-
level. If you're not yelling, we don't need to be worried about what you're doing.
Thing is, the person was yelling, and I don't know the full story. I think they might have had Tourette's, but I think they were yelling a slur, and that just caused people to turn around.
Yeah, slurs tend to catch people's attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally wrote the most realistic part of the show is how oblivious people who live in New York City are.
No, we're not oblivious. We just know not to interfere.
So okay, so I like that part real quick because it ties into the whole like New York is where they first started, so we get more thematic connections between Clint, Natasha, the Avengers, and the Battle of New York, and then also
I like
too
what they were going for. I just think the execution was bad.
him taking out his earpiece.
Headphone or the
Help,
hearing
help,
aid.
him taking out his hearing aid helps him disassociate from what he's about to do. That's why he did that, I think, right?
I'm gonna bring this up with Maya later too, though. You have an assassin out after you. Maybe don't take out the thing that helps you hear people sneaking up behind you. Maybe leave that in, just in case. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not saying Yelena's gonna come attack you in broad daylight, but just in case she chooses to, let's make sure all of our senses are working as well as they can while we have them. You know,
Yeah.
like I literally like first off, the moving company that is like the cover company for the fucking Tracksuit Mafia being called
Call a bro.
Trust a Bro moving
Trust a bro.
company
Yeah.
makes me
A
want to
plus.
throw myself off a
Yeah.
building.
No,
I love
A
it.
plus. I
I
love
was
it.
like, God damn, somebody thought
I mean, there's that moving company called Two Men in a Truck, right? Like, feels pretty.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
In
Two
real
Men
life.
in a Truck. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Yep.
Y'all didn't know that?
I
Alec
did.
knew
How do
it.
you get kidnapped?
Yeah, Alec knew it.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
there-
not out on the east. Maybe
There's
they're kind of
weird.
central.
There's weird moving company names. You got to stand out somehow.
Well, that's also a reference to like the comics because I know I've heard people say that in the comics they say bro like every other word.
Oh, they did in the second episode.
Yeah, and I just
we haven't had-
hate it.
We haven't had a bro in like 2-3 episodes.
I know. I hope the
What's
last
going
episode
on?
really puts
What's
back
going
up
on
the
here?
bro quota.
Yeah.
The broda.
The Broda.
The bro.
I will
Um,
say before we quickly leave this scene, I love that transition from when like Clint put the hood up and turned around and walked away, and I was like blurred, and then it transitioned to Kate's bedroom, and it was like blurred as she like sat up.
Oh
from the bed.
yeah.
I thought
That
that was
was-
an
that was
amazing
awesome.
shot.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it was perfect. For a second, I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then, yeah, it was very well executed.
Weird question that I will pose to the group that this show made me think of. So I have not finished watching Daredevil because I just ran out of steam. The Netflix shows got long and weird, and I kind of
Mhm.
I ran out of energy. In the end, though, the last time we saw Wilson Fisk, he was going to prison, correct?
Yes.
It's been a while since I've watched that show. I
The last
couldn't tell you.
scene is when Matt's just beating the shit out of him, and he's wearing a white suit, and they're both bleeding and screaming for whatever reason. It's really cool. But he stops himself from killing Kingpin. Not saying he doesn't deserve it. He's like, I don't want. He's like, he wants to stick to his code. He doesn't want.
He
him,
does the Batman thing of like, I can't kill him.
You're not going to be the one to break me,
Mhm.
type of thing. But he yells, "You will live the rest of your miserable life in a jail."
Okay. And then I know because I've seen shots on Twitter that there's like something in The Punisher where we see him in prison, like deadlifting. Like
Because in The
crazy
Punisher,
amounts
he
of
was
weight.
in prison because Punisher is after Daredevil season 2, and he went to prison during end of season 1 or season 2.
Okay. What happened to the prisons and jails during the blip?
That is the question. I think that at some point they just went, "Fuck it, yeah, sure. You can get released on a technicality or some shit. I don't know."
No, but I mean when they came back.
Oh, like you count those 5 years as part of their sentencing?
Yeah, or, like, if their sentencing would have ended during the blip, like, do you just let them go now? Like,
That's what I'm saying, is I think enough of the logistics are there, or the logistics are, like, so confusing that they might have done it on a prisoner by prisoner basis. I remember when COVID was first starting and there was the issue of how fast prisoners were contracting it within, and they were giving people early release. They were doing it based on the actual record and crime that the prisoners
yeah,
were in
it was
for.
like if you were, like, pissing on a wall or, like, a low level dealing hero or not heroin, dealing dealing marijuana, they were letting you out. If you were a murderer, they were like, "No, you can stay right here, buddy." I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's going to play into why Kingpin's, like, not in prison anymore. Um, and honestly, with Kingpin, you could give me any explanation, and I'd probably be like, "Okay, yeah, like,
Do we
it's
even
New York."
know?
But
I was gonna say, do we even know if they're gonna like adopt? I said this before we recorded. If they're gonna adopt like any storyline from the show, right?
I had no idea.
It could
Yeah,
just
That's
no
the
be
clue.
thing, is they might just be very general about it and be like, "Yeah, some things happened," and unless they say something to the contrary, we can assume it happened, but it's not gonna have an impact. It's a really weird thing.
Well,
yeah.
clearly
They're
he's
gonna have
been.
to.
I was like, clearly he's been doing some stuff because Hawkeye knows him. Like,
Yeah,
so he's been
that's why I
Oh,
involved.
feel
that's
like
true, they're implying that he was alive during the blip.
Maybe
Not
that's
even
how he
that.
started getting
Well,
power.
true, yeah. I mean, that's what people have been kind of theorizing
well,
that
because that's
during the
what they're
blip
they're
when. Yeah, go ahead.
That during the
that's what they're
blip.
implying with Kazi is that Kingpin ordered the kill of Maya's father, William, and Kazi
Mm-hmm.
didn't get the call because Kingpin wanted him to step up with Maya because Kazi
Yeah.
is a simple little man who just wouldn't think that, oh, I didn't get the call for nefarious reasons.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to hang it as, like, either, "Oh, Kingpin wanted to keep you alive," or "You were the one who made the call."
I don't think he made the call just
Or
because
knew
he
about it.
clearly is deeply in love with Maya. Um, in case any of us weren't sure of that, he clearly is in love with Maya, and Maya is a little too wrapped up in avenging her father to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, like, as you do. Um,
Plus, dating coworkers is tricky.
what I'm about to say, I do not mean that the scene was bad. Just the way it was set up, it's how it looked. The scene where Hawkeye was jumping through, taking out all the bodyguards in the
Mhm.
Fat Man used cars, which real subtle there. Um, they were just beating you over a head on this episode that Fisk was going to show
Mm-hmm.
up.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait,
it
wasn't Fat
looked
Man her
like
father's nickname?
no, Crazy Horse was her father's nickname.
Yes.
Those aren't even close.
No,
Don't
I
say
could.
yes like that because
Yeah,
those
no,
are
I just completely forgot
fundamentally
what it was,
different.
so I was like, maybe that's, yeah.
No, Fat Man is clearly referencing Wilson Fisk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looks like a scene from Twilight. And I'm not saying that it was a bad scene. There is just a scene from one of the Twilight movies that looks just like that. They're
This
in a
isn't a
wet
bad scene.
parking lot.
Twilight just has one really good scene.
I don't
The
know if it
first
was
Twilight movie isn't as bad as the rest are terrible. The first one's like a rom-com. Or, well, not a rom-com, but like a romance.
Rom-com. I do want to talk about the car dealership scene for a second, for a very different reason.
Mm-hmm.
There was a car there from 1985 being sold. That is a 40-year-old car. Who
Yeah.
the fuck is buying a 40-year-old car?
For
Like, it's not a
33,000
collector's item anymore.
for $33,000 too. It was something crazy.
People will pay crazy amounts of money for cars. Do you know
For
how
cars
many
that they used to
1960s
have, yeah.
Do you know how many 1960s Volkswagen buses there are in
But
California?
that's different because those are very niche and there was a small amount. But, like, I don't think anyone is going crazy over the 1980s span
There
of
are
Toyota
some people that
Camrys.
are like, I need an 80s engine. They were better back then because they were made in
Well,
America. Like,
so
car people are crazy.
yeah.
That
So
was a very generalized statement, but
yeah. My dad, he owns a 1981 Pontiac Trans Am, and he's like that was the first car. He ordered it right from the factory, and he's kept it. He had it kept it up for over the years. And there's been so many people that have told him, it's like, man, I wish I would have kept my car from that time. So it's like people,
Trans Am's
you
are a
know,
big one too. Where
But
people
yeah,
are
that's
like,
the thing
I
is
need my
Trans
Trans
Am,
Am.
like there's certain ones that they get famous either because of a movie, like the fucking DeLorean, or just they were a very niche
right? But
one
I'm
and
just
had a
more,
cult
They're
following.
terrible
I'm just more
cars.
correlating it to like people if they have nostalgia for their first car.
Yeah.
So like
I
they see
guess.
that
There
their
are
car.
tons of people.
Yeah, it's like I miss my first car. Our first car died on us, and or that I
miss
had.
my
And
Buick.
exactly, it's
my
like
Buick.
if you
fucking
see
first car at all.
I
that,
miss mine.
so it's like that'd be a great podcast topic.
And I mean, to be fair, mine
But
was
yeah.
like a 1999 Buick LeSabre, and I loved it and was obsessed with it, and like
96 Dodge
want another
Stratus.
Buick. Yeah,
Things
like it's
one
like
in
a
Florida.
weird. It's like a weird thing, where like
people have nostalgia
know.
for their first cars. So I mean, they see a used car lot. It's like he's now able to
Yeah,
find stuff
and
like
then
that.
and then you get into like the other people who are just like old engines and like to
Mhm.
fix old engines and get them running again. Like that's just like a hobby people have.
Yeah, but we're talking about the 80s now.
Also, I'm willing to bet good money they're not selling any of those cars.
No,
That's not the purpose of the lot. The purpose of
just
the
a
lot is
front.
to launder money, not to actually sell cars.
Just an account looking at the books is like all they have are cars from the fucking 80s, and yet here they are making so much money.
Why? You know. However, I literally wrote all caps. You didn't bring more bullets, Maya, you dumb bitch. Like, you're deaf and your henchmen have proved themselves to be fucking useless, except for Kazi. And you only brought 6 bullets?
Even
Like,
Kazi,
why?
Who got
like,
taken
Well,
out very easily.
It was that thing. It was that thing. Like Kazi's like, it's like, bro, you're like that. You're in the outside. Like you got to watch behind you. Like
Yeah,
Maya's in the
why is
middle.
there nobody
If something
covering you?
if something goes
Right.
down for you, Maya, everyone can then close in. Like you gotta watch your back.
it's like that meme of the 3 people at the church with a gun behind each. You need somebody at the very top with a gun on all 3 of them.
Yeah, like, why did none of you think, hey, he might appear from the sky? Like, how did none of you think of that? I also
He's
like
got to
that
get
Kazi
to her
was like,
somehow. Watch the perimeter.
like, why would you assume that this guy is just gonna mosey on in like he doesn't know you're gonna be there waiting to mow him down, you know?
Yep.
Like, I feel like there was some flaws in the logic there. And
But they're
also
all
just bring
pros.
more than 6 bullets. Like, I just feel like as a rule, bring more than 6 bullets.
Yeah.
Or more than 1 gun. I'm just saying you could have been better prepared. I like that scene a lot, the scene in the car lot. At first I didn't like Maya being like, we're nothing alike, you're a monster, and I was like, oh, you don't know like a full story, so I can't judge you. Because I was like, please explain to me how you're different, that he killed your father and now you're gonna kill him. Like, those are kind of the same thing, but I guess. And just
because all he said was like, "Oh, revenge is very bad and it's a poison. Like, just don't get caught up in it." She doesn't know why.
I mean, he starts to make it clear. Like your boss is the one who ordered.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is now I think she has a very different motivation.
And here's my confusion with that. Because they implied that Clint was just going after bad people. And then with Maya, partly because it's comic accurate and partly because they need to make her a sympathetic character for her to have her own show, her father is shown to be very kind. Are we implying that Clint was taking jobs from mobsters to kill other mobsters? Because that makes the Ronin situation not fun.
I'm wondering if
He
he
said-
didn't, like, if at the time he didn't know who called the hit in, and then maybe over time he found out.
But see, that's the thing, is I didn't think he was taking hits. I thought he was just like using.
He was just
his shield.
Yeah, he was just investigating himself, and he'd see like a
Yeah.
bunch of
What was the
gangsters.
line? What was the line that he said? Something about an informant that tipped him off to that operation. So that could either mean, yeah, he took a job from somebody, or he was investigating / murdering somebody, and then they like gave up other
that
info.
yeah, that's the other thing is, like, in Japan, I doubt he was just walking into every building knocking and being like, "Are you Yakuza? Nope, sorry to bother you." Like, he had to investigate somewhere, which I assume means getting tips from other bad people.
Yeah,
Okay, but there's
because
getting tips from other bad people and getting tips from Kingpin.
the whole theme of this of Hawkeye in the show is like he keeps mentioning that he was a weapon. He was a weapon. Like he didn't like have as much like he let rage blind him, and so I could easily see him taking jobs with Kingpin just to get more vengeance on like Kingpin's competitors, right? Like that
Mhm.
that could be a huge tie
Mhm.
to how Kingpin got power himself. Is Hawkeye was just like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pissed
so
off. I want to kill a bunch of criminals, and this guy knows a bunch of them and where they're at and what they're doing and stuff. So,
I looked it up and it's that his he knew from Maya's boss, Kingpin, that Kingpin wanted her father dead.
hmm
So that's where I'm just like,
Yeah, they're gonna
we
need to
need to
clear that up.
it's playing the article that I'm on right now is playing a trailer for the Batman and I keep getting distracted by it because I'm so excited for that movie. I have to close this. Um
Good,
yes,
good.
sorry, I'm just really excited for that movie.
You're good.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what Kingpin's connection is and okay, Laura, our sweet bean Laura. Is there a possibility that she was working for Kingpin and like Clint got her out?
mm.
Potentially.
Pre Avengers,
I don't know.
Like,
Because
back in
I
the
don't know when
day.
they got married. Because I
it
don't know if
it
he's
had to have
single in
been.
Avengers 1.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
in Age of Ultron, which takes place 3 years later, their kids are like 8 and 10 and stuff like that, right? So
True.
maybe even older than that, because
I'm very confused about his family life.
yeah,
Zol's 16 now, so
mhm.
I'm proud of Marvel for making something that everybody hated matter.
that's what
They're
that's
doing
the
a really
beauty.
good job of that lately.
oh,
That's the
and
beauty
making
of
Age
the
of
MCU,
Ultron
man.
great.
Yeah, they redeemed Dark World, so they can do
Yeah.
anything.
They
Yeah.
redeemed
yeah.
Dark World. They're now making because everybody hated that fucking Clint had a family. And everybody was like, why? Now it matters. We don't
Yeah.
know fully why yet, but now it matters. Everybody hated that Nat died instead of Clint. Now we get like the whole storyline on why. Not for nothing, I'd be pissed at Natasha if I was Yelena, but that's an entirely separate conversation. Actually, no, I will have it. I would be too bad. Let Clint die. Like his kids have their mom. You are the only one I have. Like if I'm Yelena,
Mhm.
all I have is you. And like Clint, his kids got another parent, and his kids weren't brainwashed and forced to have a hysterectomy and be an assassin. Like Yelena deserved to have Natasha.
No,
No,
another great reason why that scene at Grand Central Station was awesome is he again talks about how she always was able to one up him.
I'm bitter.
All for an orange rock.
hmm
Hey,
I
it's an
did
orange
love that
glowing
scene
rock.
because I was like, guys, yeah, but like you wouldn't have your children right now without that orange glowing rock. So I think
Yeah.
just being like her rock is a little cavalier, my man. You became an assassin because you lost your entire family. Like, I'm just saying. Um, I don't know. I love
Yeah,
Kate and Selena, though.
so one of the things about the show that I would say is not bad, but it's just bugging me is I think that like the pacing is a little weird because like with the other shows, like I won't even bring WandaVision into this just because that's a 9 episode structure and it's so different. But like
Mhm.
with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was like, oh, like everything's about to go down at New York and like we're gonna have to see the how the three major parties interact, but there was no really mystery left. With Loki, it was like, oh, they're about to meet the big grand person. With this one, it's but like I feel like with those shows, we got smaller little reveals or things or threads that closed out earlier. With this one, it's like we still have to figure out what the deal is with the watch. Clint and Kate's like friendship We have the whole thing with Kingpin because we didn't actually see him. We just saw a picture being like, oh yeah, like it was a name drop. Clint and Maya reconciling, I guess. Like they're
but
Yelena
just like,
figuring out about Clint. Like I think there's just a lot that's going to go into that last episode.
just like we were saying last week, like there can be answers, one answer to many questions, like the Watch. If that pertains to Laura and why people like Kingpin and that would possibly be after the Barton family, that's an answer in and of itself. Maya and Yelena making their peace with Clint and Maya betraying Kingpin can all be answered with one thing. Armand's death, what Eleanor and Jack are up to, and how Kingpin ties into it, that's all going to have one answer. So it's many questions, but you can answer them in compartments. Because Armand's death clearly has something to do with Jack and Eleanor, who are, at least Eleanor is working with Kingpin. So, like, you have that answer. And, like, I also have a feeling that this is not going to be the only season of Hawkeye.
I was going to say.
I imagine it's going to be the only one with Clint as a main role, but I could see a show of Yelena and Kate, or like if they bring back in, I will die if this happens, but if they bring back in Jessica Jones and it's like Yelena gets her little squad and like they all work in New York taking care of like that kind of like mafia stuff. I would die if there was a show that was Jessica Jones, Kate Bishop, and Yelena Belova. I just need everyone to know that. I will never shut up about it. What?
I think we had the same conversation last week.
Yeah.
I would lose my...
I'm not trashing you for it. It's just funny.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, with WandaVision, they were, like, limited series, like, limited. With this show, they have not made that same marketing distinction. And with a lot of these plot threads not resolved, they could totally do a season 2, with Clint and Kate being starring role, or they could make Kate the starring role and have Clint kind of, have cameos, or there's so many ways they could go with it. And so
honestly, though, like we had a ton of questions last week, and this episode answered a ton of them. Like, so who's to say they couldn't just do that again next week? Like,
I also wouldn't be surprised if next week isn't only in 45 minutes or an hour or whatever these have been, if it's like an hour and a half because it's the finale, and like we're probably going to get a post-credit scene next time, and like also I really could foresee Eleanor and Jack going to prison and this show ending with Kate kind of taking over Bishop's security and it becoming a whole thing with her and the New York-based heroes. I just want Jessica Jones to come back. There are rumors that she's going to be in She-Hulk, and I'm going to cry if it doesn't happen. If fucking Charlotte Cox comes back and Jessica Jones doesn't, I'm going to be furious.
I was thinking about it today, and then I was reading something on Reddit about, like, somebody pointed out good things, like, Iron Fist's one episode in Luke Cage season 2 is a way better interpretation of him than his own show, so they could bring back the actor and just not any of the people that wrote for that show and just do him good. I'm just saying, I will take all 4 of them back if that's the only way to get the good ones back.
Just light it on fire and like be done with it. Iron Fist was bad. Just cut your losses. We have a better, similar quote unquote character in Shang-Chi. Just cut your fucking losses with Iron Fist and call it a day. Say that Danny Rand died. I don't care. He dove into the Hudson. He jumped out of a plane. He died skiing. I don't give a fuck. Just like Luke Cage can make another best friend.
Yeah, Danny Rand,
by a vending machine.
He just jumped out of a plane.
He kills 3 Americans a year.
Honestly, if they yada Danny Rand's death like that, I'd be like, okay, I get it. You know what this is. But I'm amped for next week. I feel like next week is gonna be fucking fire.
Oh, we haven't talked about Yelena's awesome fit in this show. Her going to New York and finally
she got more guests.
Finally experiencing the New York lifestyle.
Yeah.
She wants to have a girls' night.
Somehow she tracked down who hired her. How did she do that? Like, because I'm assuming Val sent her on the mission, and I'm also assuming Val wouldn't tell her who hired her. So how do you think she found out
I mean,
who
she's
hired
a
her?
Black Widow. Like,
Yeah.
she has that kind of training.
I wonder if
Honestly, I
she
just kind of assume Yelena can do anything.
Yeah.
maybe
Like-
she has like you would assume that Eleanor uses a fake phone or fake number and a fake name, but if she still has any point of contact with her, she can probably trace it back somehow. You know why she was able to find Eleanor? Because the script said she had to. Boom.
Honestly, sometimes in Marvel, that's true.
Yeah.
Like sometimes in Marvel, they're just like, yeah, sure.
We only have 6 episodes. You might have to do that sometimes.
Yeah, we can't get into the why of everything. How did Kate
Yeah.
get so good at archery? Now I need a prequel series with her.
Well, they showed that in the montage.
Not
Yeah.
enough. Not enough, man. I have more questions, okay?
How?
I'm being sarcastic here.
I don't know. I feel like none of us were expecting this to be how the Netflix shows came back into play. I think it's a good way to do it, especially because, listen, I love Kate Bishop, but her alone against things like alien invasions and like the fucking guy from Loki whose name just went out of my fucking head.
Kang?
Why can I only
Kang
thank
the
you? I could only
Conqueror,
all I could come up
Immortus.
with was Kree the Conqueror.
The-
That was
the
all that I
fucking-
could come up with.
The fucking guy that can time travel and
Yeah. All I could come up with was Kree the Conqueror, and I knew that wasn't his
Kree
name.
the Conqueror.
Kree the Conqueror.
Kang the Conquering Kree.
Stop.
he conquered the Kree probably.
How many
I-
conquerors could a Kang Kree conquer if a Kang Kree could conquer Kree?
But yeah, she can't handle like that kind of shit on her own.
Mhm.
Like, she needs help. But I feel like if you had it be Daredevil, She-Hulk, Jessica Jones, Kate, maybe Yelena, just because I want to see them together more. Be like New York superheroes that handle like all the organized crime. I think you could open yourself up to like a really dope noir fun show and like go deep into all the and like have them pop up and Echo and all that kind of crap.
I think that they will find a different way to reintroduce each of them. Let's just, for purposes of this argument, just assume they're bringing back everyone. Like, I think they're not going to do it all in one big swoop. It's like there are rumors that Matt Murdock might be coming back in Spider-Man. If not, maybe that's the post-credit scene next week is what Matt's up to and maybe where we'll see him. Jessica Jones makes sense.
I had a theory that got shit on.
Because it's
knew my
confirmed.
theory.
What was it?
I had a theory that the end credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home was going to be Matt going to talk to She-Hulk and like talk about and like him and Jessica like talk about the need for a
Why they
superhero
need a superhero lawyer? Yeah,
since we know that that's the plot of She-Hulk, but I don't.
that's
I
true.
don't-
That's a way to
from what
bring
I
him
have
back.
heard, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, so I just think I could see each of them being brought back at different points in different ways.
Mhm.
And because this is the first like legacy carryover, right?
Mhm.
I believe
Yeah,
so,
it-
yes.
Yes.
Like underwhelming's not the right word. It just was like so expected because all the rumors were just flying around about Kingpin and even Matt Murdock forever. Like when he showed up, I'm like, I mean,
the
obviously he
actor
got
wasn't helping.
yeah,
No.
it obviously
Like I said to Chris this morning, he was not being subtle.
got hinted throughout this show itself, but like when he showed up at the end of this episode, I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, like
Even my
but
friend
it should have
and I
been
were-
like a massive deal.
My friend and I were like literally talking this past weekend. It's like that part where they showed Uncle, like, at the beginning of the season. Like you could tell from that suit and the hand.
The
Like
suit, also the laugh. The laugh is his.
Yeah,
Oh, see the laugh, I could not have told you, but
mhm.
shut up! I will lose my goddamn fucking mind.
What is this? Is this a leak?
There's a new rumor that Kristen Ritter is going to be in Moon Knight. That Jessica Jones is coming back in Moon Knight. Guys, I will lose
Who?
my goddamn shit. Like,
I'll let
I
LeighErin
will.
host that
The
episode.
entire podcast will just be me screaming. Like the entire time, I will just
Solo
be losing my
podcast.
fucking mind.
Yeah, we all just kind of mute, go into a different room, have a conversation.
Honestly, you could, and I probably could fill an hour of fucking podcast. Listen, I just want the Netflix characters back. All right.
That's what I'm saying. I will
Even
take the
Danny
bad to get
Rand.
the good.
Yeah, I can ignore Danny Rand, I guess, for a little while. Like, I didn't watch Iron Fist to begin with, so
That's
I
I
don't
do
think-
think that they could make him good if they changed how they made his character, because he was so fucking impulsive.
he was just bad.
I don't think they'll
Sorry.
bring him back just because nobody really
Nobody
likes
hated
that.
him.
Nobody likes that show or that character. Whereas, I mean, I know
I'd
Daredevil.
watch a Heroes for Hire show, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Not with him. And what's sad is that actor's a really good actor.
That's what I'm saying. I think they can change their approach to the character and make it good, and just be like, that stuff. It was it was a thing. We fixed it. It's okay.
He hit his head and he's a different person now.
Or I don't know.
Colleen, or
He
whatever
went
that
to
girl's
therapy
name
because
was.
like the whole thing is like he got
Heroes don't go to therapy. Come
he
on.
got abandoned when he was 10, so he never grew up, which is why he's still so impulsive. But it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but superheroes don't go to therapy. Let's be real.
No,
Like, come on.
it would
So many
many
girl
issues.
should be fixed.
Falcon Winter Soldier.
That was
Okay, one
court-mandated
superhero goes to
therapy.
court mandated therapy, and then Sam just kind of got like
Roped in.
bullied into it.
So I'm just remembering that scene from How I Met Your Mother when Robin's like, "Huh, I'm in therapy. This must be what growing up feels like." And the therapist goes, "This is court mandated therapy." Like,
You hit a guy with a chair. Yeah. I didn't know until we saw Kingpin that I want this to be the way the Netflix shows come back. I want more Hawkeye with Kate. I'm assuming at this point we're not going to see more of Daddy. I'm assuming they hyped up Brian Darcy James for him to be in one scene.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
maybe it's to throw people off their trail, or maybe we get a really in-depth flashback next week.
I'm assuming we're just going to get a line from Eleanor being like, your father wasted all of our money and I got used to our way of living. And
Plot twist, he's been alive the whole time and he makes his appearance next episode. Oh, we
I
talk
will-
about bringing back Iron
hate
Fist.
that.
In Iron Fist, they like apparently were hiding a guy who was alive for like years. Same thing. Does anybody else remember this?
Jordan,
watched the
no
show.
one else watched that show. I'm
I'm not
know
crazy. This is a thing that
anyone
happened.
who watched the show. I know people who are like, I watched the first 2 episodes and I didn't like it, so I stopped watching it. Or I watched Luke Cage and Luke Cage wasn't really doing well. Jessica Jones season 2 got weird. Daredevil started getting weird, so I wasn't going to bother watching Iron Fist. Like, all of those, with the exception of Iron Fist, they all had great season 1s, and then they started to lose their footing a little bit.
Yeah,
and
Daredevil was consistent.
not really. Like, there are parts of Daredevil that aren't good and don't make a whole lot of sense. That they just ran out of where they were. You could tell they had a plan for season 1, and with Daredevil, they had a plan for Punisher, and then they didn't really have a plan.
I also think it didn't help that for 2 out of the 4, because Jessica Jones season 2, I just kind of think ruined any other season that could happen because it got way too weird and killed too many character assassinations. But with Luke
And-
Cage and Iron Fist, they didn't get a second season until after Defenders. So it's like, what are we supposed to do with this?
And the other problem is they shouldn't have done the Purple Man first. I get why they did, but they should not have done the Purple Man first with Jessica Jones.
Or made him a
And,
big
like-
bad that stays.
What?
Or could they have made him like a bigger bad that doesn't get killed off in the first season? Like he's around for a couple seasons?
No, because her thing is that she's going to kill him when she finds him again. It just should have been she was looking for the Purple Man during season 1 while handling one of her other bad guys.
Yeah.
Like,
And gets like a huge tip at the end of season 1, and season 2 is her actually dealing with him.
tracking him down and dealing with it. But anyways, I just want more. I just this and like
I am so ready to see another performance of Kingpin next week.
You think we're gonna get him?
I think so.
I
Yo,
know
she
if
clearly
they
was going
don't,
to
I'm
meet
gonna be
him.
pissed.
I think we're gonna get him, but I wouldn't expect like him waxing poetic the way he would like 4 episodes into Daredevil or
When I
like
was a
True,
later
boy.
true.
on. Yeah, like I don't think he's going to be like monologuing. I think we're gonna see a lot of his relationship with Maya leading to his betrayal with Maya. And
Mhm.
then they're not gonna bring back Kingpin if they're not gonna do something with him later. So I'm assuming that he's either gonna be in Echo or there's going to be another season of Hawkeye that he's in or like
He always
whatever.
manages to get away.
Or
So
in the new
if they just
Spider-Man trilogy.
that's possible. Also, the logo at the end having Kingpin's silhouette over it.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh, I didn't watch that part.
That was really
Yeah, at the
cool.
very end, if you click on the tweet
Well,
that Chris sent,
Chris shared it in the chat. Yeah, and I looked at it because
yeah, that's what it was.
I was watching the episode.
Although the
Mhm.
shadow does have more of a Spider-Verse proportions than it does.
Mm.
It's a shadow. It's okay.
See,
Yeah.
I think Kingpin is going to be in the Stinger.
You think he's gonna be the stinger for? Yeah, I could see them like he gets away, or they leave his they leave his ending very ambiguous at the end of next episode, and then the stinger is like what he's gonna end up doing.
Because my reasoning for that is he hasn't really been the focus of the show, so having him come in would just suck up all the energy from all of the characters that we've built up
Mhm.
throughout these 5 episodes. So I think it's gonna still focus on Eleanor, still gonna focus on Jack, Tracksuit Mafia, Echo, and then something whatever happens after next episode, Kingpin's like kind of like the fine, I'm gonna do it myself, Thanos
Mhm.
scene. Like he's gonna be like, all right, like I gotta be more proactive here and
Yeah,
He does
then
kind of
and
look
then it
like a human
goes.
Thanos.
And then it goes
And
to Echo or Hawkeye season 2 or whatever.
No, and
and I
I
don't
get that. Go ahead.
I don't think that it's gonna be like I don't think it's gonna be like, well, Matt Murdock or whatever name he chooses to use, since he technically knows both. He beat the shit out of me and all this shit, and I went to prison and I bided my time, and I, met a crazy man who wore a skull on his shirt that cops are obsessed with now, and like I broke out and I built my tracksuit mafia back up from the ground because I got rid of Maya's father, who was not mean enough. Like, I don't think we're gonna get that. I think we're gonna be like, hey, this guy runs a really, really corrupt ring in New York City that has like tendrils everywhere, and that be
Or
the end of it.
honestly, I could see us giving what would be that monologue you just said, the opening scene the way they did with Yelena's thing today. Like if it's just like a small thing.
It's too much. It's too much time has passed, and there are too many questions you have to answer about how did he get out of prison? Did he ever really go to prison? Like, what's he been doing all this time? Was he running the tracksuit mafia during Daredevil and Daredevil didn't figure it out? Why didn't Daredevil know he was running the tracksuit mafia? Like, all of that stuff has to be like figured out. And so I think we're just going to get like, yes, this is the mobster that Eleanor has been working with, and he's
Yeah.
a bad guy, and we'll deal with him later.
But
But he's here.
But I don't think he's just going to be the stinger, because I don't think they would have brought him onto this show just for us to see his hand and a blurry picture of him.
No, I think he will be there. I don't think it's like we're going to get answers. Like, I think you're setting
Mhm.
yourself up for disappointment if you're like, I'm
I
going to
want to
get
know
answers.
Kingpin's entire story next week.
Exactly. Like, you're just going to be setting yourself up for disappointment. Like, it's
Let's
the
start
same
from the
thing,
beginning.
but,
Show
like,
me the part where you kill your dad again. Yep, let's go from there.
yeah, because it's like, oh, I forgot he kills dad.
When he's like 12 too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with Kingpin, but like, damn.
But yeah, that's just like I think it's again, if WandaVision taught us anything, it's like don't get your hopes up too high, because like it's the same thing that I've been saying to everybody going into Spider-Man. Matt Murdock may be in it, all 3 of them may be in it. Like it may be this and that, but if you expect it being the biggest it can be, you're going to be disappointed.
Yep.
Because they're just not moving
Excited.
as fast as you wanted it to. Like you're just gonna end up getting crushed.
Oh, I'm
And
gonna be
that's
weeping tomorrow, like in good and bad. Like, man, just
and
good ways. Like,
and that's why I like just keep your expectations like low, and remember that we're in a building phase of Marvel. And like we all knew this, that if the Netflix shows came back, it wasn't going to be boom, the Netflix shows are back and they're
Yeah.
Disney Plus series, and like we're banging them out and all this shit. Like we knew that wasn't going to happen.
and then also the whole thing about the prison thing is we also don't know how much of that they are going to consider canon.
Yeah, that's the other thing is there's a lot to. It's the same shit where if Laura Barton turns out to be Mockingbird, we're getting confirmation that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer canon.
That I think
everything
they've
happened there.
confirmed.
They've been hinting at it. They haven't come right out and said it, but they've been hinting at that Runaways is no longer canon, that everything that happened in Runaways isn't real.
Oh, I forgot about
Like,
Runaways.
doesn't matter. It was a good show. It wasn't a Marvel show, but it was a good show.
What about Cloak and Dagger? What the fuck happened with that?
Yeah, that Cloak and Dagger like isn't canon.
Inhumans.
Inhuman. Well, we are Inhumans. Sorry, not canon.
Yeah,
that show got
But-
canceled 3 episodes into their season. I think they went, yeah, no, this didn't happen.
Yeah, so it's like all of the,
Mhm.
and I'm fine if they take all the Hulu shows and all the ABC shows and be like anything that isn't a fucking creepy animated one that's out right now and the monkey one that's out right now
MODOK.
aren't canon. Yeah, and then Monkey
Yeah.
Killer, something like
Hit
that.
Something
Monkey.
like that.
I think that's still like
That
a
entire show looks like an NFT, and I don't mean that in a good way.
No, I know that they either have to say like, "Hey, these shows are no longer canon." MODOK and Monkey exist in their own little thing. They're canon, but they're
That
not
I think is
the
self-explanatory.
MCU.
yeah.
The closest with the Netflix shows, they might basically be like, hey, this was a way for you guys to get the gist of these characters, but it is not just a kind of like how with Spider-Man Homecoming, where people are like, the story, it's not what happened in the Tobey movie, it's not what happened in the Andrew movie, but it's similar enough, so just fucking go with it.
I swear to Christ, if I have to watch Uncle Ben die this weekend, I'm leaving the theater. I will leave.
Yet you're excited for the Batman.
I don't. Not if they make me watch the Wayans die again. I don't.
For
or
the
like
record,
if it's a
they have
quick
died
scene.
way more times. Uncle Ben has died twice.
Yes, but it's still like, can we not? Like, we all know. I loved that we didn't see it in Homecoming. I loved it. I was like, dope, awesome.
How
never mind, I
many
can't say
times
that,
do we
you
have
guys
to
get
teach
mad
you
at
this
me.
lesson, old man?
Yeah, like it's just like even in the Batman, I'm amped for it, and I know it's year one, so, like a year one Batman, so I know we're gonna see it. But
And
I
the whole
really
thing with
hope it's
his
like
the
4
gun
seconds
being the
long.
logo. So like,
I really hope it's just like
listen,
4 seconds long.
Batman v Superman is not a perfect movie. You know what was the smartest thing they did?
The
Making
way
the
they handled the
Wayne's
death.
yeah, the opening credits being the Wayne's death as a slideshow. You see
Chef's
white
kiss
people
way too
walking
late.
out of a theater. You see some pearls fall.
You see
hear
a gun break a string of pearls. You
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
a bang. You see a sad kid. Like that's all. That's all we have to do with Uncle Ben. I don't even give a fuck how you kill him because I don't know in the comics canonically who kills him, how he dies, whatever.
It's usually just like some generic.
And I don't remember how Martin Sheen died.
They both got shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
I've never
Tobey
seen
movies
the
went and
Tobey
retconned
movies.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen the Tobey movies. I saw the first Amazing Spider-Man, and
In both of
I
them,
remember Martin Sheen being there.
yeah, in both of them, Peter interacts with the person who killed him before any of it happened and didn't do something because that person was doing something wrong.
Okay.
It's a whole, yeah.
I would love it if we just saw a dude that kind of looks like he's young enough to have been with Marissa Tomei dead on the ground. Like, I'd be fine if that's all we saw. Just because, like, there's so much other shit that's got to happen in that movie. I just don't care about his uncle dying.
This is just a separate conversation, but I'll just go quick. You know what was the worst Wayne parent's death I've had to deal with? The fucking Batman VR game. Did you guys play that? Okay. So the game starts with you in the perspective of 8-year-old Bruce. The guy shoots your parents, who are like taller, obviously, but way taller than you, because VR is weird with that sometimes.
Ugh, I don't like that.
It gets worse. He then leans in. He leans in to the person playing and says deal with it, kid, or something like that. And then it's just play options.
Hello?
Wow.
Ma'am?
Literally,
I'm just
thanks,
saying,
I'm 9.
Unless they're gonna do something with it, I want to see it. Like how in the Telltale games with Batman, you saw the Waynes die, but it's because they were going somewhere with Thomas Wayne.
And they completely changed up that story and who he was.
That storyline. If they're not changing Uncle Ben, I don't care and don't need to see it. I also can't say the next part because you guys will get mad at me. So
Is it a spoiler or just a hot take?
I don't know.
Okay, then
I last night I thought I didn't tell you, so it's nothing. Don't assume anything that I said to you last night. It was something I saw last night, and I went, "There is no way this is true." And now I'm seeing tweets from reputable sources that it does happen, and I'm like, "Oh no, oh no," because I went on a rant to somebody else about how there was no way they were gonna fucking do that, and now I'm concerned. Now I'm scared.
Do we
Any
think that?
final thoughts?
I was just gonna say,
Oh,
do we think that there may be a post-credit scene for Spider-Man that might help tie into the finale?
see, I think it's going to be the other way around. I think if they, I think that spoiler should last like depending on the thing it is to about 2 weeks to make in. But Marvel like they went like the weekend after Endgame. I was like, yeah, Iron Man's dead, and Cap can carry the hammer.
Yep.
Fuck it, we're showing it in. So
Yeah,
I
but
honestly,
with this, it's not the end of something. Like, look how
but they
long
did
it
the
took
same thing
them.
with Infinity War.
No, but that was still like the end of something. Where at the beginning, this would be like like just dropping those things after Thor came out. I think especially with the pandemic, Disney is aware that people aren't necessarily going to see the movie opening day. And because like look at how they were with Shang-Chi. It was like they were like, don't post spoilers, don't post spoilers. We're not putting up the assembled for a while. Like we're doing all of this stuff to try and keep it like under wraps on our
Yeah,
end. Obviously, tomorrow the entire internet is just going to be spoilers of that movie, but it's not going to be from Disney.
yeah.
Um,
Because the one thing I could think is if Matt does show up in No Way Home, and then the post-credit scene next week is somehow has to do with him, and maybe it makes sense if you didn't see Spider-Man, but makes like a teeny bit more sense if you did see it. Like I could see it going that way,
Mm-hmm.
where Spider-Man actually has something to do with the stinger for next week.
Mm-hmm. I can see
um,
that.
Which makes me
yeah.
think, like, yeah, if the multiverse is going to have any impact on this show.
Well, that's been the whole discussion that we've had, I think, since Falcon or since Loki, where
This is the beauty of living in a big city. These are all show times for Spider-Man No Way Home tomorrow, where the
That's
theaters are almost empty.
crazy.
And this is just because I live in LA.
Oh.
All of these, that is like 18 show times, and they all have seats still available.
but yeah, Brett, that's kind of been the question that we've been having is like you have everything that's going on with WandaVision, Loki, Spider-Man, and Multiverse of Madness, and then Ant-Man 3. And we know that Kang's supposed to be a huge big bad, but how are Bucky and Sam and Kate Bishop and Yelena and She-Hulk and Matt Murdock and all that stuff playing into like how does the very grounded stuff play into the multiversal stuff? Because the first 4 phases were good
I don't
about
think it
kind of
does.
I'm offended you name dropped Yelena and not Johnny Depp since they're a part of the same squad.
I
listen,
don't.
dude, you know what I'm saying.
I'm just gonna blow right by this. I don't think it does. I mean, Tom Holland and Amy
Mm-hmm.
Pascal have both come out saying that after this, it's going to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think. I
Well,
think
I'm not even
Well,
talking
Spider-Man.
about
or
him.
Spider-Man for like
No,
the
no,
entire
Yeah,
MCU.
I know, but I think that I've been saying this since WandaVision. I think we are going to get two roads in the MCU that will eventually converge, but not for a while. And we have one road, which is Loki, WandaVision. Stop making my camera shake. Loki, WandaVision, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Eternals, Shang-Chi to an extent just because it deals with some weird shit, the Marvels, like all that weird crap. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have the path of Hawkeye, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new Spider-Man trilogy where it's going to be our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, probably America Chavez, the Young Avengers, all that stuff. I think they're going to be two separate paths, and in like 5 years we'll see them all come together, but
I mean,
not yet.
actually, the Young Avengers would be a place where they kind of converge because America Chavez comes from.
But I don't think we're going to get a real team up of the Young Avenger. I think we are still 3 years away from that at least.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that we're close to it. I'm just saying that actually seems like a place where the two kind of start to intersect.
I truly think that we're going to Because we already know we're getting Captain America 4 that's going to have nothing to fucking do with weird shit except for Sam Wilson proving that he can be fucking Captain America again. Like, we didn't just go through that for 6 episodes.
That quote was taken out of context.
I swear to Christ, if that becomes the storyline of that, his story, I'm gonna freak out. But anyways, the actor playing America Chavez was at the premiere last night. She looks adorable, and I'm so excited for her to be in Multiverse Madness.
Tim goddamn Getty was at the premiere last night. How dare he?
Never mind. I don't want to waste time. I'll ask that question off air. Because it's dumb. It doesn't matter.
I want to talk about Grills. Shout out to Grills. He initially he was kind of like, a little needy, annoying. But now he's like kind of found some respect with Hawkeye.
He's taking care of the dog. He's letting
Hawkeye, like he's just chilling with an Avenger right now.
He's ordering pizza.
That's pretty dope, dude. Yeah, shout out to Grills.
Fuck yeah. Oh yeah, Grills. Real life.
Any final thoughts? Things we want to discuss? What did we not talk about? Something?
No.
Kate and Yelena, frenemies. For now,
I love it. I want them to be BFFs.
Frenemies to besties pipeline.
Truly.
Yep.
Truly, I need it to be a frenemies to besties.
You can see
pipeline.
that chemistry from that scene.
They're also apparently best friends now.
Florence Pugh and Haley
Steinfeld. That's awesome.
Yeah, they've been posting on Instagram about how they're like BFFs now.
I love it.
Which, I mean, they're both like my age. Like, they're both young.
Did you guys see that Florence Pugh got banned from Instagram last week?
Yeah, for
posting her own picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. She posted her own picture of her watching Hawkeye, and it got banned. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Alrighty. Well, we will see you guys next week for the finale of Hawkeye. But until next time, bye.